Joining us now is OjyOkpe, the birthday girl, with stories trending around the world. Hello, Ginny.
Good morning,
the
Dr.
birthday,
Bati.
okay, I said birthday girl. Birthday lady.
Birthday lady. I can be girl too, or madame, mademoiselle, any one of them. Thank you all for attending my birthday dinner last night. Thank you.
Birthday
my
dinner.
18th birthday.
So birthday girl,
you're on point as always.
Oh, okay. So I got that right.
Yeah, you got it right. Rufy on fire. How are you this morning? He's been waiting to see. Did you see him twerking last night?
No, maybe I had left back.
You never missed an opportunity.
Not at all. Well,
But you were available yesterday. You are not part of the I'm unavailable.
Oh yeah. Dr. Bati, you are Thank you all again.
You were my sweet 16 yesterday.
Okay, John Jazzy for us now.
Well, all right. Thank you all again. Well, good morning to you viewers. Let's begin what's trending with reactions trailing reports from the Secretary of the Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress, James Faleke, who over the weekend confirmed that President-elect Bola Tinubu will arrive Nigeria today after a one-month rest in France ahead of his inauguration on May 29th. Tinubu's media office, in a statement last month, had said that the president-elect traveled to France on Tuesday, March 21st to rest and plan his transition program after a very exhaustive campaign and election season. Faleke, in his statement issued on Sunday, invited members of the APC-PCC in Abuja and Nasarawa State to join in receiving the president-elect and the First Lady-designate, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, around 2 p.m. today. I mean, we have been waiting for this news. I mean, I guess we will wait till 2 p.m. today to receive the president-elect. But, you know, the issue of why he traveled, where he has been. There are also issues surrounding whether, his health and all of that had been trending on social media. I'll take some reactions with this story from the APC. This is from Otitokoro.
Otitokoro.
What does it mean?
Truth is bitter.
Oh, I love it. Well, all right. Well, he says, I wish the president-elect long life in good health. It is also important to state that a president going abroad on vacation is not change. It is not renewed hope. It is not nationalism. It is also not new wine in new bottle. Satafa Belewa observed vacations in Nigeria. Well, another Twitter user there says, what happened to a vacation at Yankari Game Reserve, Obudu Mountain Resort, that beach resort in Lekki, Abraka Turf, in my state, Delta State, Ibom Golf Resort, Ikogosi, Olumo, Oguta Lake, and so on. He could have spent his 3 weeks vacation in any of those places. Why travel abroad? I wanted to take this tweet because I also just wanted to highlight the beautiful places that we have in Nigeria where you can go on vacation. But like Dr. Bati said, there is freedom of movement. Anyone is allowed to go wherever they want. And, the president-elect chose France. And that's where he chose to go. Ayo.
All right, thank you so much for showing that tweet. That was what was on my mind.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for highlighting some of the great places in terms of tourism.
Nice.
And I'm trying to remember which states exactly, but I know the president-elect did mention on one of his campaign tours that he was going to improve tourism. So he might have been the perfect picture of an ambassador if he had chosen one of these sites to spend his 3-week vacation. But maybe there's something about the French air that would give him clarity of thought because there's a lot of work ahead of him.
Really?
He's coming back to answering.
Did you say French air?
Yeah.
That I haven't heard.
Because, there's something obviously clearly abroad that makes them think, because they keep going there for meetings. So it's something there gives freer thoughts. I don't know, maybe. But like you mentioned, barring unforeseen circumstance, don't forget that. That was something you mentioned. We will see the president-elect today. And we're excited about that because he did tell us he was going to France and Saudi Arabia. We didn't see pictures from there, but that's as an aside. But going forward in terms of what is welcoming him back, there are a number of questions. maybe he'll choose to do a press conference to finally put to an end this issue around his Guinean passport, being dual nationality, swearing on the oath, or perhaps ignore that. Maybe he would have an opportunity to then respond to some of the issues. Yesterday, we had Mr. Oyalo speak to us. We're tired of speaking to spokespersons. We want to speak to the real person who would be dealing with the issues. Yeah, today. Oh, I said yesterday. Sorry, today. and so we want to speak to the man. We want to hear from him because later on, as Dr. Bati mentioned earlier on, he can say that it was his surrogates that were making promises, that he didn't say it by himself. So he's not aware of some of the promises they were making. So it'd be great for us to actually engage him, speak to him. We're excited. Let's hit the road, the road running. There's a lot of work for him that he has to deal with.
Absolutely. Rufai, your comment on the story.
I mean, we can't wait to have the president-elect back. In fact, I know a lot of his followers will bring out the drums and be singing Kabo, Shida, Ludi, Atin Retire. And it's on them to sing that, and congratulations to them. And we wish him a lot of wellness. We want him to succeed. But you see, one thing about success is there should be constant evaluation and scrutiny on the path to success. It is because it is accountability that lays you on the path of success. And that's why when he comes, a lot has to be said. There were discrepancies about his health. Can he tell us the true state of things? He'll be sworn in a month's time. He'll be president. Then we'll have a chance to ask again. Even before then, he's already public property. Because as he is, it is you and I's taxpayer money that is taking care of him now. Even if they say he should move into defense house, Dr. Abatiabi. So the moment he's moved into defense house, it's our property. It's my property, part of our property. Property Tiwani. So we have a right to ask him these questions. And he has a right to be upfront. Like Ayo said, Guinea, we need to talk about that. Health, we need to talk about that. He needs to also let us know the plans he's got for us. The insecurity, how he's going to solve all these problems. I've got nothing against him. I want him to succeed, because if he succeeds, Nigeria succeeds. And it is Nigeria I'm more passionate about. I'm not really passionate about leadership. You know why? Leader will come and go. But the question is, are we going to put up a structure where any leader that comes next to Nigeria follows a certain pattern of leadership that does well for the people? That's my concern. So we can't wait to have him back. All right? And as regards people that said, okay, tourist destination and all that, yes, as the number one person, but people can choose to go anywhere they want to go first. I'm not going to fault him for going to France for his holidays and all that. People can choose to go anywhere.
Yes.
But the transparency and accountability should be the order of the day in this administration. And people will have a right to ask questions. And please, they should not shut them down or use the regulators to shut them down. By the way, it's officially over a week. MBC has not said anything about NTA carrying a coup acceptance speech in Adamawa.
All right. Dr. Bati, really quickly, so we'll take our next.
No. The thing to add is that, well, Nigerians are expecting him to return. The explanation given by his spokespersons was that he was going on a short vacation to recuperate, to rejuvenate, to plan for the big assignment that awaits him. And we hope that he will be back today.
2 p.m.
As we've been told. And that when he returns, I hope he's coming to Lagos, that there will be no traffic hold-up, disturbing ordinary people who are going about their normal business. He should come home and arrive in a manner that is not noisome. Because otherwise, disturbing other people because you are returning from vacation will be an act of affront.
Absolutely.
Against the Nigerian people. As for the citizenship issue, I've argued this ad nauseam. I've said that's not an issue. As a Nigerian, you are entitled to dual citizenship as long as you meet the conditions in Chapter 3 of the Constitution, which deals with citizenship, sections 25 to 28 thereof. If you were born after independence, if either of your parents is a Nigerian, and you have not renounced your citizenship, the only thing is that if you naturalize, you can't say you want to be president of Nigeria and take second citizenship. So if you look at those conditions there, Bola Tinubu fits the bill. So the controversy over dual citizenship is of no moment. It's of no issue. The other issue that people have raised in his absence is that of perjury. And I've pointed out that perjury can only be pronounced upon by a court of law. And the conditions for enforcing perjury, they are properly spelled out also, in the law, in the criminal code, section 117 thereof. And you have to give an arrest warrant. You have to go to court. You have to prove it. These are principles that have been established in the Bola case. So the people who want to prove the matter, well, it's up to them to go ahead. But can you issue an arrest warrant for a president-elect? That's the question. But of course, Nigerians would like to see him arrive and begin to prepare for the assignment before him. And also process his cross-petition, his defense at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal.
Well said, Dr. Bati. We'll take another story. Following the crisis in Sudan, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyeama, over the weekend said that the federal government is working very hard to ensure the safe evacuation of Nigerians as fighting continues in the country. The minister, during a live television interview, said that about 5,500 Nigerians are in Sudan and over 80% of them are students. Speaking on the efforts made by the government to evacuate Nigerians, the minister said that the major goal is to get the approval of the Sudanese government to provide security, as the only viable way out of the country is by road, which is not safe. This is as Nigerian students, under the aegis of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Sudan chapter, in a statement asked their colleagues to converge on 3 locations in Gadaref to plan their escape to neighboring Ethiopia by road. Meanwhile, the chairman and CEO of Airpeace Airlines, Onyema, has expressed willingness to evacuate stranded Nigerians. Onyema stated this during an interview on THISDAY Live. The airline owner said that if Nigerians could be moved to a neighboring country, the airline will fly there and evacuate them, as Sudan's airspace is presently closed for civil aviation flights. I mean, this is the challenge, the major challenge in Sudan, which is the amount of Nigerians, which is like 5,000, like I said. This is the challenge of, getting them out of that country. But it is refreshing to hear the chairman of Airpeace Airlines saying that he is going to try to evacuate Nigerians. I mean, this is not the first time that we are seeing Onyema doing this for Nigerians, but also I saw a viral tweet from Adeyanju, who wrote, "Airpeace should help us evacuate all Nigerian citizens in Sudan. Waiting for our government might be a waste of time. Help Onyema." I mean, this tweet went viral because some people were talking about the fact that how is it that the government is always abandoning their people and, try to get private citizens involved in what the government should do. Ayo, really quickly on this story.
Right, very quickly, I'm glad that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Onyeama, has come out to speak, because a number of people had been tagging the more popular of the two in terms of dealing with Nigerians in diaspora. The chairman of NIDCOM, Honorable Abike Dabiri, who a lot of people had said we need to be speaking to the Foreign Office, the Nigerian Foreign Office. I don't think what he said was inspiring enough for us to take it on board as to, yes, he said the right things. We want to move Nigerians out. We have 80% of the 5,500 Nigerians in Sudan as being students. But we must commend the private sector, in this instance, Mr. Onyema of Airpeace. He did it in 2019 when Nigerians were facing xenophobic attacks in South Africa. He did it in 2020 with the UK during COVID. He did it in 2022 with Ukraine, and now he's offered to do it again with Sudan. We can learn something from a private sector, an individual who owns a private business in Nigeria, for the government to be more responsible for its people outside of Nigeria. But having said all, what we want to see is our Nigerians who are in Sudan, who are trapped in Sudan, here and reconciled with their family members.
Absolutely. Rufai, your comment on this before we...
The sad reality is that we have dropped the ball before now, and anything we are saying now is medicine after death. What were we doing all this while? And the more painful thing is we'll always drop the ball. And the sad reality is that this will happen again. It's just like building collapse. Exactly what happened in Ukraine was when we had to scream our lungs out before they made arrangements to pull people out of Ukraine. we are going through that cycle again. And speaking about building collapse, the last time a building collapse, I said it will happen again. As 2 or 3 not happened again. You know, another one happened recently. So because we don't do things right, and like I say, culture will eat strategy for breakfast. We have a foreign ministry and a Nigerian government that has a way of dropping the ball. Then we start to call on Mr. Oyeama. But we thank God for the kind of heart God gave that man, that he will put all his resource down and everything. But despite all the good he's been doing, look at how the Minister of Aviation is treating those in the aviation sector in the country. Hell-bent on starting up a Nigerian airline. And these same people that saved Nigeria, when they cry and clamor that Nigerian airline you want to start up will affect us. What do they say? They say they should shut up. So people like Mr. Onyema would do good for this country. You don't even appreciate them. You don't celebrate them. This is a man that has built this country out many times. And please, I'm very iffy about that plan that they want to use road means to take them. I just pray for the best, but anything might go all right. No. But it is so sad that it has gotten to that level now, that you have to transport them through roads. I just pray everything works well. Yes. And please, students out there in Sudan that you watch us on Arise, reach out to us. Let's know what you're, even if it's money for peppermint, sweet and everything, or water while you're crossing. Let Nigerians with the milk of human kindness reach out to you, but please reach out to us.
We pray for their safety and their, return back to Nigeria. Let's take a final story in Kenya, where 47 bodies were dug out of their graves by the police in Malindi, a coastal town in the southeastern part of the country. The bodies were found on a land owned by a Pastor Paul Mackenzie, who was arrested on April 14th over links to cultism. The victims were told to fast to their death in order to meet Jesus. Police had been told there were dozens of shallow graves spread across Mackenzie's farm as digging started on Friday. Kenyan Broadcasting Station is reporting that 58 graves have so far been identified, adding that dead children are among those that have been exhumed. The pastor, who ministers at Good News International Church, has denied any wrongdoing, but is still held in police custody. Dr. Abati, when I read this story, I was shocked. I mean, the pastor is denying it at this point, but they are finding bodies in his farm. This is another case of hypnotism, or, I don't understand how you could be told to fast to your death to meet Jesus. Really quickly.
Well, mass hypnotism has been a major problem with religion, proposed as shamanism, whether it's in Waco, Texas, or it's in Japan, or in other parts of the world, where you find these pastors telling people, about afterlife, about rapture, and they mislead people. In this particular case of Pastor Paul, the allegation is that he said people should starve, they should fast so that they could meet Jesus Christ. And of course, look at the outcome. Mass graves everywhere. I think that pastor should be sanctioned, should be punished, should be made to face the full wrath of the law, to show an example to other pastors. In this same Kenya, which is becoming almost as religious as Nigeria, there's the case of another pastor there who said that, he's Jesus Christ impersonified, and that he had turned, tea into wine, something like that, And when it was Easter, this recent Easter, they said he should submit himself to be crucified. Since he was going about claiming that, he had turned tea into wine. Okay, come and be crucified since you are the modern day Jesus Christ. The man ran away. He didn't make himself available. So this is the kind of crisis that you find in Christendom, where people have converted the doctrine to serve their own purposes. But what I always tell people is, a caveat emptor, buyer beware. Because all these pastors, whether it's Pastor Paul or Pastor turning tea into wine in Kenya, in that same Kenya, you yourself as an individual, you must beware. Because they are selling doctrine, they are selling wares. So you have to caution yourself, so that's what is important. You must know the difference between religion and there's something else that many of these prosperity gospelers, pastors sell. Thank you very much.
May their souls rest in peace, those victims. Well, thank you again for your beautiful analysis on what's trending. And again, thank you for joining me to celebrate my birthday.
Happy birthday once again.
Thank you.